This is a pretty big one to track, and we've not had many of those as we've gone throughout the last few years at least. So let's dive into all the details. Meteorologist Brian Ivy here. This is your Norcast Weather Snowplow News video. And yeah, this is going to be a big corridor of ice. There's going to be a big corridor of widespread snow, some of that pretty heavy with Arctic air pushing on in as well. Now, multiple different parameters are going to set this up. How strong is the high pressure? Where is the high pressure located? Where is this secondary low development? How far north does this low pressure system get? All these factors are things that we don't exactly know. We know the players are on the table enough to get a big time snow, but it's going to shift. Could it be a little bit further north? Could it be further off towards the south like this? Could the heaviest corridor of snow be Indiana, Ohio, up into New York State? Could that icing corridor miss Atlanta? It's possible. Or you could have a different scenario where all these elements are further south and the snow is going to be mainly from New York City, maybe Columbus, down across portions of Nashville and south. And that icing area is well south, and it's kind of a mix of a lot. So multiple different scenarios still on the table based off of how far north or south this tracks and how certain dynamics come together. But definitely getting in on plenty of cold air, that is for sure. We're going to be pushing in Arctic temperatures well below zero in some spots, especially with those wind chills, and the temperatures that get below freezing are going to be very well encompassing with some pretty significant chill in here over the next couple of days or so. A little bit of lake effect off of this trough that moves through as we go on in towards your Thursday and into early Friday. That will weaken, and then this system will start to form at that point. This is going to be a long duration, big deal event from Friday into Monday. Here it is coming out of, generally it's kind of a Gulf low. It's going to form out of the Four Corners and come on down and then move up to the northeast. So it's going to pick up a lot of Gulf Coast moisture. We're going to have that overrunning of warm air over the top with cold air at the surface. That's what's going to create the icing area with snow off towards the north. So this picks up a lot of moisture, and it's going to move from the Gulf up into the mid-Atlantic, and it's going to pick up more moisture off of the Atlantic. So that's what is allowing this to be such a prolific storm, because you have the major cold air to the north, you have plenty of moisture to the south. So watch for an icing corridor. This is going to slowly get itself together throughout later Friday into Saturday, and then a pretty heavy snowfall corridor as we go on in towards your Saturday. But there'll be some breaks in the action. Notice back towards the west still, you got all this snow here, you got the icing into Texas. Let's go forward. Let's merge these systems together. As this one moves off towards the north and east, here's a secondary low pressure system that's going to be coming on through. And look at this, big swath of heavy snow. This is freezing rain and sleet and significant at times, and then it's just a little bit of rain down far to the south. Oh boy, look at this. It's a big, big area of snow. Kansas, Ohio, New York. Whenever you see that moderate to heavy type snow for those many states with a consistent track, you know you're in for some pretty big totals. This is going to push off towards the north and east. And again, maybe this is here. Maybe this is here. This is kind of the further northern extent of it. This is going to move on through. There'll be dry slots south of the low. There'll continue to be snow exactly where we have northwest of the low pressure system. As we go in towards late Sunday night and early Monday, this will start to pull on out, but you're still going to toss moisture back into the Great Lakes. You're going to start getting the winds off the lakes. There'll probably be a little bit of enhancement early next week, and at some point on Monday, this is going to push on out. Models definitely have a little bit of a different idea on how quick that'll happen, then probably a clipper system with a little bit more lake effect by the middle portions of next week. But we need a break at that point. That'll be good. Yeah, significant icing. And again, this could be further north, could be further south, but this is going to be a quarter of a half an inch of ice, with some spots likely seeing an actual inch of true icing. And of course, wherever that hits, it doesn't matter where, it's super, super significant. Yeah, we'll have to watch this closely because this is going to be a major impact portion of this storm as well. Here's some of the different computer models showcasing different solutions. And you see there's general consistency. There's not like 500-mile differences or one that has a few light snowflakes, one that has a major winter storm. Like, we are going to be seeing this major winter storm, and it's going to play out something similar. Now, this is an idea of where the worst of the snow could fall as of right now, where the best chance of seeing a foot plus is. Again, this is going to have the chance of shifting 100, 250 miles or so from exactly what that is. But there is definitely a high likelihood that we're going to see an area of 10 to 20 inches or more. There's not going to be a blizzard conditions with this. There will unfortunately be the major icing corridor. It looks like once the storms gets up into the mid-Atlantic, into the northeast, there's not going to be a major nor'easter, so not big tide issues. But major snowfall, maybe back into portions of West Virginia, Kentucky, Ohio, into Pennsylvania. We'll have to see again how far north this whole area shifts, but this is where kind of those big snowfall totals could be. So obviously you want to see the snowfall map. This is just an idea. We're still several days out from the actual storm, or at least, well, a couple days. Yeah, widespread area of 6 to 10 inches or so of snow. I mean, there's going to be possibilities of some corridors of over a foot, especially isolated amounts over a foot. You get back into portions of Kentucky, maybe a foot of snow, maybe even into Ohio, a half a foot to a foot of snow, into Pennsylvania, same story, maybe isolated higher amounts. And we'll have to see where here in the Mid-Atlantic is that corridor of the highest accumulations. But definitely some very impressive numbers. And yes, these are realistic numbers. I'm not saying that Syracuse is going to have 15, 20 inches of snow. Maybe it's in Baltimore. But like, this corridor here is going to be a very hefty swath, depending on the exact track. The good news is we quiet way down. We get plenty of Arctic air, but it's going to be a dry, quieter pattern as we go throughout portions of next week. There's one storm threat maybe by the end of next week that would be a little bit more organized, but plenty of Arctic air will be pushing on in. This is true polar vortex. So this has Siberian type nodes to it. This is the Arctic air, and this is just a lot of chill. And look at this. We push multiple blasts of the coldest air on the northern hemisphere into our area. Yeah, at times. It just kind of recirculates, moves back around. Memorable winter pattern over the next few weeks or so before hopefully we start to break this up a little bit. But temperatures next week, snow misers dancing and enjoying true major Arctic cold.